Hey everyone, welcome to part 1 of a few-part series about our 400-mile overlanding off-road expedition through the north side of the Grand Canyon. In this video, we are going to be diving into everything that we did to prepare ourselves as well as our 18-year-old Land Rover Discovery 2 for such a grand adventure. Hey everyone, welcome to Overlanding World. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm David.
And this is going to be part 1 of a 3 or 4 part series of our amazing trip to the north rim of the Grand Canyon. We're going to take you guys through everything we're bringing, everything we're doing to make this the most successful and possibly the most memorable trip of our entire life.
And I hope most of you guys stick to the video and watch all 4 parts and come with us through the journey that we're going to take you guys.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Let's go. When prepping for this trip, the first thing we wanted to do was give the car a proper wash. Since we pretty much drive the car every day, it does not get the proper cleaning that it needs. We also just wanted to take everything out of the car and start fresh when we needed to pack everything back in. Since this would be the longest trip that we have ever gone on, it would also mean that it would be the trip that we needed the most supplies and therefore we needed the most space. So for this reason, we decided to take out the rear row of seats to make more room in the car for all the tools, gas, and everything else we needed to bring. Another reason that we took out the rear seats was to relieve some weight from the car.
Once we cleaned out the interior of the car and prepped it for loading, I started checking the engine bay. I double checked all the fluids and actually found out that there was a coolant leak out of the heater core. But that was a very simple fix and all I had to do was tighten the screw on the hose clamp. I then just topped off the coolant and everything looked good. One thing I want to recommend for anyone who gets a Discovery 2 is to upgrade their thermostat to a 180 degree one. This will help lower the engine temperatures and avoid overheating since you're going to be traveling at slow speeds. After looking under the hood, I then rolled underneath the car to do some inspections. I wasn't looking for anything in specific to be wrong, but I was just double checking that all the bolts were tight and everything was in order and ready to go.
Our very fearless leader, Cody with Expedition America, had sent this email out to all the fellow adventurers with information on what to bring and what was required for the trip. So based on the list, we only had to purchase one thing, and that was the GMRS radio. We had found this one on Amazon, and it definitely worked perfectly and was needed in order to communicate with the rest of the group. In our car, we decided to mount it to the dash, and we were able to hook it up to the 12-volt outlet, and it worked great. We decided to get a roof rack in order to hold the extra gas that we needed. Being budget friendly, we knew that we couldn't just blow a couple $100s on a roof rack, so our only option was to head to Walmart and purchase a roof basket to hold everything on top of the car. We found one that we wanted and only had to spend $80. So since this rack is not designed perfectly for our specific car, we definitely had to improvise a little bit. We ended up going to Ace Hardware and purchasing square aluminum tubing in order to be able to mount the rack on the roof. We're not gonna lie, this looked a bit funny and very homemade, but with the help of some zip ties and hose clamps, the rack was secure and ready to serve its purpose. So one thing that we did a little bit differently on this trip versus ones that we have gone on in the past was that we decided to put all of our blankets and pillows inside the tent and close them in there. So we had never done this before. We had just kept everything in the car, but since we wanted to have as much space as possible, we decided to do that. So we just opened the tent, shoved everything in there. It was definitely a little bit more difficult to close, like we had to be sitting on top of it just to get it closed and zipped up, but it worked and it actually saved us a lot of space, and I think this is something that we're going to be doing in the future when we need more space in the car. In order to prepare for the trip, we also decided to purchase a few things that we felt were necessary specifically for us. We purchased 2 Jackeries that were the 240s, and we got these in order to keep our cameras, GoPro, cell phones, and heated blanket all charged up during the trip. One of the biggest purchases that we made for the trip were these Baja designed amber fog lights. So we had been wanting to purchase these for a while just because we had been in fog and we could not see anything, but it was kind of difficult for us to justify $200 for only 2 lights. However, knowing that we would likely be driving through the dust on the trip, we found that it would be a great purchase to make and they would last forever on the car. So installation of the lights was rather easy because David just did it all and I didn't do anything. But honestly, it was very simple, and all he had to do was wire them to the factory switch for the fog lights, and they worked great and were very bright and kind of saved us on the trip.
Since we're going on a trip with no stopping and no outside resources, We had to make sure to bring all the tools and spare parts that would make it possible to solve any problem with the car. I brought a cheap Harbor Freight toolkit as well as literally 99% of the tools I had in my toolbox. This includes a impact gun, multimeter, channel locks, vice grips, and all the different screwdrivers, fuses, zip ties, variety of wrenches and sockets, and also JB Weld. I also went a little bit overboard on our spare parts, which I brought ignition coils, wires, an alternator, an idler pulley, a serpentine belt, a thermostat in case ours is a plastic one and breaks, a lot of extra oil since we burn it. We also brought transmission fluid, coolant, and a lot of water, and some other things that I can't remember at any point, but it was just too many to list. One spare item that's a replacement part you have to make sure to have in your Land Rover is a crankshaft position sensor, since if this sensor fails, the engine basically stops in its tracks and you have to wait to get the car towed out of the trails. We also made sure to bring a jack and a jack stand to be able to replace and change our tire. We also brought Fix-A-Flat and a tire repair kit to be able to repair our tire in case of a puncture. We also made sure to bring our recovery ropes in case somebody got stuck or if we got stuck and had to be towed out. We had been told that the trip could possibly be 400 miles. So to be able to have a range of that long, we had to do some quick math. Our car on the freeway averages out at 10 miles per gallon, so we went for the worst number and had to do some calculations at 8 miles a gallon. After this, we realized that we needed approximately 45 to 50 gallons of gas to be able to complete 400 miles of off-road driving. The gas tank inside the D2 is 25 gallons, so we had to bring extra 22 to 25 gallons of spare gas inside the car and on the roof. So we asked all of our friends and family for some jerry cans and put together a weird combination of Rotopacks, dirt bike gas tank, a Walmart gas tank, and some little 1 galloner. All of this gave us a total of 50 gallons of gas and approximately 400-ish miles of range.
Usually when we go trips or camping or anything like that, David's really focusing on getting the car and everything ready, and I'm really focusing on, like, let's say packing the car and getting all the cooking and what we're gonna eat and making a list for all that and kind of like what we're gonna bring to sleep and all that. So usually what we keep in the car are these 2 bins. I have one for like kitchen utensils, supplies, pots, pans, cutting boards, and then usually I have one that we put like non-perishable food items. So for example, like chips, or like we have a cup of noodles in here as like a emergency type meal and stuff. So that's usually what I do. I usually leave the non-perishable bin like a little like out, so then if we need to get a snack, we could just go grab it really fast and we can snack while we're driving and stuff. So pretty much every time we go camping, even if it's for one night, I'm always like, we need to buy propane, we need to buy propane. Because I'm like, because I'm in charge, well mainly, I'm like, if I'm using the stove and like cooking, then like that's what I'm doing. So like I don't want to run out of propane, and it's like a fear. So every time we want to go somewhere, I'm like, we're going to Walmart, we're buying propane. So we're taking 4. These are completely full.
We're taking like 8.
Yeah, well, I sound like a crazy person. But we have more in the car, but then these are like 4 full ones that I'm taking as well, because I don't want to run out. So, yeah. Okay, so we are pretty much packed up. We put probably too much food in the car already, and we still haven't even gone to the grocery store. So that's where we're going to be going next. We're just going to take you guys through kind of like what our menu is going to be while we're there. We're not trying to do anything fancy. Actually, we are. We're making steak, huh?
Yeah, we
Never
are.
mind. Anyways, we are being fancy, I guess. But yeah, we like to cook, so it should be a good menu for us. But yeah, I guess we're going to be heading to the store and then eventually hitting the road.
Okay, we got the steaks. Show them the steaks.
Oh, they're kind of
York
small, but
sirloin. Yeah, it's fine.
that's the only ones I had, really.
Okay. First thing's done. There's our big list. We'll make pizza out of these. Bomb. These are bomb. Let's add some yogurts.
These are bomb. These are also really good, guys.
These are a must for any road trip. Usually we always overbuy it. We're like, for like 2 nights we spend like $300. This time it was good. It was like $120 for all the food.
Which is pretty good. Because,
yeah,
like,
Tiff
if you
did a
go
good
out
job
to
this
dinner,
time.
Or, like if you want to buy food, like. Hello. Y'all are gonna be talking to me for a while because I am passenger right now. We're officially driving. Since we hang out all the time, we run out of things to talk about. So I'm assuming we'll listen to some sort of podcast or something, right? Once we packed up all our food, it was time to hit the road. We left our hometown of Glendale, California, and made the 2-hour drive to Baker, California, where we wanted to stop and get some legendary beef jerky. And traffic. Thanks, California. Every time. How's it going?
Hello. I don't know. Getting annoyed by the little skeekiness in the back.
Yeah, there's some things like creaking back there, but it's fine. Just turn the radio on. At this point, we were deep into a podcast about our sleep patterns and what our brain does when we sleep, which was very interesting. We then spotted this cool H1 Hummer and thought it was worth documenting. Finally, we made it to Baker to get some much-needed beef jerky and passed the world's largest thermometer. The jerky was bound to keep David occupied for a few hours while I stayed behind the wheel.
Alright guys, if anybody's going to Vegas from LA, make sure to stop at the Alien Jerky place. Got the best jerky, even though it's expensive.
After taking my biomechanics exam on the side of the road because, school, we stopped to fill up some gas, but just enough to take us into Nevada for hopefully some better gas prices. We also spotted this cute ice cream tower that I'm sure you have seen if you have driven from LA to Las Vegas. Another key thing that we use for our trips and also just everyday use with the car is a blue driver scanner. We use this to monitor the engine temps of the car and make sure we are not at risk of overheating. We have never gone to overheating temperatures, but it doesn't hurt to be cautious.
Alright, Tiff has an important question for everyone. Go.
If anyone knows the answer to this, because okay, you guys, when you're like driving on like a freeway, mainly freeways or like roads, maybe, there's like always like a fence on the other side, like off the freeway. There's like a little bit of like dirt, and then there's like always a fence, and it goes for like miles parallel to the freeway. My question is, who put the fence there? When was it put there? And what? Like that's a lot of fencing. After going back and forth between who truly put the fence there, we could finally see the state line into Nevada. We stopped one more time to fill up some gas, but it wasn't much cheaper than California, so that was really disappointing. Before we knew it, we were back on the road and moving forward. Fun fact here for you guys, I personally drive very fast and don't like being stuck behind trucks and slow drivers, but David over here drives like a complete grandma and only goes like 65 miles an hour maximum. His way is honestly more logical because we save on gas, but I just can't get aligned to it. We finally reached Vegas, but ended up not driving through the actual strip and took a detour to Best Buy to pick up some last-minute camera equipment. One thing that I actually found out many miles later was that David actually bought a GoPro while he was in Best Buy. I guess you really can't trust him. We left Vegas and our next destination would be St. George, Utah, which would be about a 1.5 to 2 hour drive. We powered through an absolute windstorm on the freeway, which basically burned half the gas we just purchased. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but it was extremely windy. We were now on podcast number 2 as the sun began to slowly go down as the drive just got more beautiful through the desert. Soon we passed into Arizona, but I missed the sign on the freeway, so just trust us on that one. Then, about 2 minutes later, we missed another one. Let's just say my driver was not happy with me since I was in charge of filming. But not to worry, he was then cheered up when we spotted a cannon on the highway, and he was excited like a 7-year-old. Just before driving into Utah, we drove through this beautiful gorge that we were truly not expecting. It's called the Virgin River Gorge, and it is truly breathtaking. Like, I'm telling you guys, this left us speechless. Here's a sad clip of me trying to be a real YouTuber and show you guys the map, which wasn't very successful, but we were almost into Utah, and if you're counting with us, that's 4 states in one day. After the long drive, we finally made it to our hotel, and we were ready to meet the rest of the adventurers, get some food, and some rest for the upcoming days. Okay, so we're going to be leaving at 8 a.m. tomorrow, like meeting up and stuff. So we're going to be gassing up all the tanks right now. So we have to take everything off, gas it up, and then some are going inside the car, and then we bought the firewood to go on top, and then some are going to stay on top. So yeah, we're just going to do everything and then get some gas. Alright, so we got this one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we also bought another one in the car.
My car just declined.
Oh god, we're not off to a good start.
Alright,
Anyway,
let's try this again.
maybe you didn't do it right.
Because I'm telling you, it's the chip, man.
Anyways. After about 20 minutes of filling up gas, we finally got everything ready, but we did forget to show the final total, of course, but I believe it was approximately $90 for 91 gas, and it came out to be about 24 gallons total. Alright guys, we got all of them filled up. We're just like testing to see if it'll spill. That one is going on the roof. Those are going on the roof. This one's probably going inside because there are leaks, and then we'll see what else we can fit. Good morning.
We just woke up, and we're gonna head to the starting location that everybody's gonna meet at. So I guess
That's gonna be probably it for this one, unless we decide to add like one more clip. I'm not sure, but last night we just got to the hotel, went and had dinner, met some of the people that we're gonna be off-roading with. Everyone seems super nice, so we're really excited. And yeah, I feel like part 2 is gonna break down what we do on day 1, so stay tuned, right?
Yeah.
All right, thanks guys.
See you guys.
Oh, are you there?